I would think most of my work is about relationship between strangers and the idea of giving. For the project I'm doing for Lunuganga's estate, when you come to Lunuganga, what you're going to see is a set of wind chime strung in a circular. The idea of intimacy in all my work is very important. It's the core of my practice. For me, intimacy comes in different shape and form and color. What I really would like to address is intimacy between strangers. In this case, the wind chime is really the intimacy between you, the wind, and the wind chimes. So it's an intimacy that has three ways of conversation going on, and it's all about your intimacy between you and the nature, which could be a stranger at this point, just because you arrived at Lunuganga, you're not familiar with the place and the site, and suddenly you encounter a wind chime that will bring that sense of intimate feeling and sense of wind and the humidity, the sound of the birds to you, and in a way change you for those moments that you're within this installation. In most of my work, the theatricality and the approach is never really so obvious or so pronounced until I did this project for Lunuganga, the wind chime. So when you arrived, you experience a lake and the beauty, you're kind of in a high ground, right, where the house is. And then if you decide, then you take a path down the steps. Gradually, that part of the garden is exposed and open to you. And then maybe you hear a little bit of a sound. And you're wondering, maybe there are bells here, right? And what is that? And maybe it's not. And hopefully that curiosity will guide you through a deeper set of steps. And then you see the bamboo grove, you see the pond, and then suddenly you realize there's something hung or strung among the trees. That's what I hope you'll discover. It's that layering of mystery and opening of these gifts, the boxes, in the sense, the sound, the sight, the lake, and the wind chime. So I like that sense of mystery, of guiding you to your next steps, which in my previous work it's quite lacking. Therefore, I'm very excited about this particular installation at Lunuganga. It teaches me about how one can approach my work. And in a way, the work is guiding you without physically being there for you to see, but the sound and using other elements where the work is situated to guide you to the work. Looking back at 20 years of practice, subconsciously, I always create, or I often create projects that are for a singular encounter. Maybe that has to do with my own personality, that I am a person that likes to enjoy or encounter things in my own term, in my own time, in my own space. I know many of my colleagues who are creating amazing participatory projects that are very much about community, about group encounter. And I think they're extremely brave to create that kind of work, because for me, I really think it's important to, and very fragile to encounter work by one person. Often that doesn't fit into, let's say, a museum or a biennial frame, structure, because they want number, they want 2,000 people to come and experience it at one time. But for that kind of encounter, I think maybe it's not the kind of language or aesthetic I'm looking into. I'm looking to one person at a time. Take your time and experience really the way you want it to, not the way I tell you to or other people tells you to. And walk away with your own question, walk away with your own understanding and ownership of the work. And that's what I'm looking for. So with the Lunuganga wind chimes, of course, I can't tell people, say, hey, if you have more than 2 people, stay away. That's not the point. Hopefully people will understand that it's an encounter just for you. And if you choose to be there with your loved one, that's great. If you choose there by yourself, or even just stand outside and see and listen to how the wind plays the wind chime, that's amazing. I just wanted to open up to your own interpretation of it. So the bells at Lunuganga has infinite mood. It again is in response to the site, the temperature, the weather, the time, where the sun is, where the moon is, and where the stars are.